friends and family, and welcome to Day 3 of the 2023 U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, presented by Discraft. Coverage brought to you by Ace Run Pro, and this is our last female major of the year. My name is Holly Finley.
And I am Raven Klein. We've brought you the back nine. Here of round 3, we are in Burlington, North Carolina at the Regulator course in Cedar Rock Park. It's a rain round. Everyone is doing their best to keep their hands dry, keep their discs dry. Up on the leaderboard, we have Henna Blomroos at 11 down, Kristen Tatar chasing her with the 10, and then Christy Ohn Scoggins, Haley King, Evelina. Love seeing this many people under par. And at this course, it can change quickly. We're going to start you off on the back nine. Hole 10, par 5, 632 feet. If you want to play it safe and for par, you can just play something short that gets you to that first part that we flew over. If you want to be aggressive, we see some great drives getting all the way up here, which opens up that eagle opportunity. You do have OB along the entire left side, and your final shot into the basket is either a forehand or a turnover, but you have to control the height to get over the hill and stay under the branches.
Deann Carey up first.
Deann playing a nice shot, good nose angle on the disc, and puts herself in the fairway.
Hokom hits the main gap with a forehand, but it's turning over towards the water.
Did that stay in bounds
and
the whole time?
And she is safe in bounds right next to the edge of the OB.
Wow.
What a shot.
I can't believe that just skipped forward the whole way.
Weese hits the same line as Sarah, but a bit higher.
Great height.
And her shot has a more aggressive finish, and she has gotten max distance off the tee and right on the path. Ohn goes to a Halo Leopard 3. Hits those trees, but she falls safe, luckily, because the OB's actually moved in right off the tee.
There's like a little jut of OB very close to where she landed. I didn't even see it until today. Deann's second shot, a nice backhand turnover. It did get to flat, and then a great kick from the hill on the right side. She's in good position for the birdie.
I love being on that left side.
Ooh, that is a perfect shot from Hokom.
Hokom shot through the gap and rolls to a park job.
That's going to be a tap-in eagle.
A tap-in eagle. What a day to be alive.
That's beautiful. We did miss Ohn's second shot, so this is her third.
Halo Destroyer into the green. And it's landed on the hillside, which is still a putt. Just a bit of awkward footing. And Weese with the longest drive of the group.
Great angle on that forehand. Oh, just catches the top edge of the hill, and instead of getting a skip forward, she rolls around and might have a tree in her way.
Deann gets caught up on that low ceiling and does not make it directly under the basket, but still very puttable. Ohn's putt a little low, hits the koozie. Weese does not connect for her eagle attempt, just off the top of the cage.
Deann in for the birdie. Fresh start, back nine. Hokom, tap-in eagle. And Ohn will have to settle for a par. Have you had a look at the eagle yet this week?
I have, yes. It did not make the putt yet. I keep landing on the low side of the hill where I have to putt up and over.
Up and over, yep.
I can only see the top half of the basket.
That's what happened to me today, and then I sent it.
It's kind of downhill.
I had like a 26-foot comeback for the birdie.
Yeah,
it was
goes
silly.
fast.
It was silly.
Let's check out hole 11, par 4, 531 feet. We've got a spotter with candy on this hole, and that's what my brain remembers. You've also got out of bounds left and right. You can land short and conservative just in the grass and play it safe, or if you throw it long enough, you don't even have to worry about the OB landing about here. That should give you about 200 to 150 into the green to have a look at a birdie 3. Off the tee, this shot shape makes you feel like you need to throw an anhyzer, but when you turn it over too much, I've seen most of those shots end up OB on the right side. Hokom forehand low off the tee, looking controlled. Right side and safe.
That's the OB Holly was just mentioning off the tee. Those shots all look like they're plenty safe, and you don't actually realize how close you're getting to that right side OB.
Deann throws the Starship off the tee, and she lands safe in the fairway. Weese back to that forehand with the halo turn. A very short, conservative shot. Safe. Doesn't look like these ladies are concerned too much with getting distance off the tee, more just landing inbounds, which can still give you a birdie look. And Ohn hanging out with the grouping. First up with the second shot, Weese from the right side.
Gets a nice little flare skip, more height than distance, but she still has a long putt for birdie.
Deann Carey is lined up nicely with this fairway to make an attack for another birdie. She hits short left side.
With this hole being a par 4, I think that's why you can see a lot of people not too concerned with getting distance, because it's also one of the bigger gaps to hit approaching the basket.
Ohn's forehand upshot with the Halo D is successful. She'll have a 15-foot putt for birdie.
Not quite the release Sarah was looking for. Pushes it more left. You could hear her telling the disc to get right. She's going to have a longer birdie putt than she wanted.
Deann hyzers an upshot into the bullseye.
Weese lays up under the basket. She'll be taking a par.
Hokom for birdie. Just off the front of the cage. She'll have a drop-in par.
A birdie from Ohn.
Deann takes a par. Two birdies and one par in a row for Deann Carey. She's cleaning it up here.
Yeah. And then Weese, Hokom, and Deann all in for par.
Love seeing the blue square.
Yeah, it's a pretty square.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Let's go.
All right, hole 12. Raven's going to tell you about it.
Hole 12, par 3, 301 feet. This is the most open hole that we have start to finish. You want to push something along the right side and let it hyzer, or just go straight toward the basket. What you don't want to do is land too short and have a death putt at this basket. Now, it's not a steep slope away, but it can still, roll, and you don't want that.
Ohn Scoggins up first. Forehand flex off the tee, and she has landed high left side. That's going to be a 75 downhill putt. Not even sure Ohn's going to go for that one.
I personally like to land right up against the trees on the right side so that my putt is sideways at the basket versus down into the ditch. Hokom throws a perfect shot, forehand flex, right next to the bullseye. Deann pushes hers a little bit right. She does actually go through the tree line, but if it was hard to see. If she got a little bit more distance, she's going to have a fairly open putt.
Weese with a very unique shot shape I have yet to see on this hole.
Yeah.
The turnover flex, but it goes long. Being downhill in 301, she really put a big move on that. And Ohn, she didn't even want a taste of that. She pitches up, she'll have a drop-in par. Deann has a birdie putt with a couple of trees in her way. Yes, Deann Carey.
Let's go.
Deann's husband AJ in the background showing support. Oh, it looks like he's caddying.
Nice.
Oh, Jessica Weese went long, but she's got a birdie bid from 38.
Leaves it left. Hokom in for the birdie.
That's going to bring Sarah Hokom to even for today's round.
Weese will collect her par, and then Ohn will tap in her par. This is one of those holes that doesn't play difficult, but it's not because the number of the birdies, it's just because most players are taking a par. Back nine looking good for our chase card.
It is. Hole 13, par 4, 583 feet off the tee. You're going to throw something slower, probably a putter or a mid to a placement shot. I like to land a little left or middle on the right, makes it very awkward and you're pinched off. Then you have like a miracle Annie flex to get up to the green. I like to land on the grass side, get you a nice long upshot into the green here. I see a lot of shots landing at that downed log on the left, which will give you a circle putt for birdie. It's important not to push the tee shot too long because once you go past the mulch, it is out of bounds. And Hokom has landed in the mulch, actually in a new relief area they gave us starting yesterday. And Deann has ended up on that right side, which is going to make her second shot very awkward. We might even see her pitch out more left.
Yeah, we'll see if this is one of the corners she decides to cut.
Ohn landing right next to that relief area, just a couple feet from Sarah. And this is more of the positioning that I like, more middle to the left side.
If you saw those three sticks right there, they're actually marking a big hole. Someone put the sticks in there so that we wouldn't trip. But that's what I aim for.
Hokom forehand to get over the water, and she has made it. She's safe on the other side.
That was Weese.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, Weese. Sorry, Weesey. And Hokom.
But now it's Hokom. Forehand, safe over the water. You were right. You were just ahead.
Yes. I wanted to see her footing on how she played from that relief area. Looks like she went to the left of it.
Ohn with the forehand over the water.
And Deann completely out of position, forced just to pitch out to the side. Now she's set up nicely to attack the green.
Get onto that branch. She got caught up in the branch there a little bit and just makes it across the water. because of the slope of the hill, if you catch high on some of those guardian trees, even if you have a ton of power, I've seen it's like 50-50 if you're going to actually clear or if you're going to go in the water.
Deann pitches up, as does Jessica Weese.
Hokom also pitches up with a forehand.
Ohn looking to get a birdie putt in the chains and just a bit low. She'll have a drop-in par. Deann Carey will accept a bogey here after being out of position on her drive. Hokom with a par as well as Weese.
Par was the hot score on this hole today. There was not a single birdie.
0 birdies.
0 birdies. Yes, this was the second most difficult hole today.
Out of 90 women, not a single birdie.
Yeah. Hole 14, par 4, 547 feet. Off the tee, you have this uphill gap to hit. Now, just making the gap is numero uno. That is all you have to do. But if you want to get spicy and have a better look for the birdie, you're trying to pump something to the top of the hill that the drone just flew over. That leaves you with a vision of the basket on your second shot. And I've seen the most successful shots be someone who like hyzers out to the right side and then crash lands in toward the basket. You have a lot more airspace than some of the stuff that's on the left.
Hokom up first. Through the gap with good distance.
Ohn with the forehand flex through the gap. She lands on the lower left side of the hill. Weese with a similar shot shape, but gets a little bit more distance than Ohn. Deann, our solo backhand.
Through the gap in the fairway.
4 for 4. Love to see it.
First up, Deann Carey. From that position, she has about 340 into the green. She didn't like it. It was too low and left. She'll just settle for par.
I do like that she didn't sky it, though, because when you're down the hill, it's so easy to feel like you have to throw up so far, and that's when everyone leaves it super short.
Hokom absolutely parks her shot inside the bullseye. She'll have a drop-in birdie.
Ohn actually a little bit further up the hill than it looked like when I first saw the shot, so she has a good sight of the basket. Leaves it a little bit right side, but she'll have about a 28-footer for birdie. 30-footer.
Weese pushes her shot to the right, hoping for a little comeback, and she gets 0. She has a birdie putt, but it's a long one. 70 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
Deann Carey from 85. Sorry, from 80, maybe 70. Redo. She lays up.
Weese is just outside C2. Saw one of the blue tassels. She pitches up. A little short, but she's got a bullseye. Par putt. This is Ohn for birdie.
Just over the top. Now Ohn's got a 28-foot comeback for par. It's in, no problems. Ohn not happy about that. Well, why would you be?
Yeah.
I would be. You just made a 28-foot comeback for par.
True. But she's like, I can't, why did I miss the first one?
I wanted the birdie. Look at this shot from Hokom. Perfection. That's going to put Hokom at 1 under for the round.
Deann in for par, and Weese also tapped in her par. Yeah, Hokom joining Ohn with under par.
easy would be number 1. Let's check out hole 15, par 3, 333 feet. You've got the out-of-bounds road on the right, but that's not really coming into play unless you have an extreme misfire. Off the tee, you're looking just to go straight through the gap and land pin deep to get yourself a birdie putt. Now, if you have a shot that can do an extremely late right finish, which is tough, that'll get a park job. I, however, have found much success just throwing completely straight, and even a disc that hyzers a little left, you're still right there at the edge of the circle putting for birdie. I'd say the most common error is the disc cutting early into these left and right corners. Hokom has snuck through the corner. She's at the circle's edge, putting for birdie.
I would say that the hyzer out going left side, or what Hokom did, is a little bit more forgiving than the right side. You have a lot more of the pencil trees, and the left side is where you go toward the next tee pad. So there's a little bit more cleared out and like a path.
Ohn drops down early in the right corner, and Jessica's shot is tracking to the same area.
Early release there. I like the shape of Deann's shot, but she just threw it too low. Luckily, it still worked out. She's in the wood chips with nothing in her way, so it should be an easy par or a long birdie attempt.
Deann loves a jump putt.
That's true. Why not? I mean, it's wide open. Of course I'm going for this.
It is not easy where Jessica's at. There's a lot of trees. I know, I've been over there, and she hits them on the way to the basket. She's going to have to scramble for bogey. Ohn's busted out her Halo Destroyer. She also did not get lucky, did not weave through the trees, and she might have to play for bogey. Deann for birdie, and she decides to lay up. That was a little long. It was actually 90 feet, unlike the previous hole.
Yeah.
Where I said it was 90, and it wasn't.
Weese with a great upshot there, and she's going to have her tap in for bogey.
Ohn tried to make good for par, but it was a long one. She'll have to settle for bogey. I like the pace Sarah put on that. It looked committed, but no connection for her birdie.
Deann in for the par. I didn't realize how short she left her upshot.
I didn't either.
Hokom for the comeback here. She's in for par.
Ohn makes good for the birdie putt from 18 feet. I'm sorry, bogey putt. It's early, y'all. Sorry about that. And Weese in for bogey.
That's okay. We still love you. I remember the first time I watched coverage and someone had made an error, and in my head I was like, how hard is it? And then I started doing commentary and I was like, I'm so sorry for anything I ever said. Hole 16, par 5, 887 feet. Off the tee, you want to line yourself up with this gap. I find it a little bit easier to be more left and have a hyzer through, but that's because I am a predominantly backhand, right-handed player. So pick your poison there. Second shot, you're just trying to get as much distance as possible. This pin, you can see it, but only because it is extremely elevated on a downslope. So when you're throwing your third or fourth shot, you're trying to get as close as possible, and then whether you like putting downhill, putting uphill, putting from the side. Again, it's really just 3 or 4 placement shots to put yourself in position of comfortability.
Hokom's shot turns over off the tee, and she lands really far away from that gap you're going to have to throw through for the second shot.
It was a really pretty disc that Deann just threw.
Beautifully dyed Starship.
Yeah, and as Holly mentioned, you do want to get as close to the gap as maybe 10 feet in front of the wood chips, because if you get too close and you're pinched, you don't really have a run up, and you're going to lose some of the distance on your second shot. But if you're too far back, now you've got a gap to hit that's 150 feet away from you, and we all know that that is a little bit harder.
I landed in the chips. I thought it was perfect. And then I had no run up or arm swing.
Yep. So you don't want to be in the gap. You want to be 30 feet, maybe, shy of the gap.
Looks to be a good placement from Jessica Weese's drive.
Ohn was short and left, but a perfectly executed hyzer through the gap, used all of her height. Hokom also on this left side here, hits the gap nicely. Even though the left gap looks a little bit thinner, I think you have more height to work with.
Ooh, Weese takes the smaller route and gets lucky. Bust through. I love that.
Ooh. Deann Annieing a backhand through from our angle looked like she was going to get caught up in the trees, but hit the gap well and doesn't push too far right.
Ohn max distance forehand flex third shot. She'll have a birdie putt, but it's going to be a scary one. You going for that?
In the rain, probably not.
Weese looking to park it. A nice hyzer shot, and she has landed right inside the circle. Also an intimidating putt.
This hill is deceiving, and in practice, every time I thought that I'd parked it, I was short.
I was too.
And so I almost try and overthrow this one a little bit. And I thought I overthrew it the last 2 days, and I was still not too short, but I was short. And I was like, okay, I don't understand what happens after the crest of the hill. Deann in good position, as in she didn't get stuck, and she actually had a run up. She does crest the hill slightly, but is still looking at an outside of the circle putt downhill. Ohn, one of our most aggressive putters, lays it up, if that tells you anything about what this hill actually looks like when you're on it.
Hokom also wanting no part of that elevated putt, and she lays up for a drop in. Now, Weese is right on the edge of where you're like, should I lay this up or should I go for it? I'm in the professional women's division. I'm at the edge of the circle. I need to be making these.
Oh, I appreciate the run.
I do too.
I do. And there's such a, when you have these, I don't want to say scary greens, but more difficult greens, and you're at like 28 or 30 feet, and you're like, when would I ever lay up a 20-foot putt, and then you find yourself laying up because there's like a cliff right behind it, and you're like, man. Weese in for the par. Ohn was in for the par.
Hokom in for par, as well as Deann. Only a handful of birdies on that hole today. Hole 17, par 3, 328 feet, and this just feels like the finishing hole to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. I love this shot. You can throw anything you want here to get yourself a birdie look, a putter, a mid, high-speed driver, whatever it takes. You've got more space on the right side to work with. On the left side, you can see the OB comes in very quick as well as behind the basket, so you don't want to shoot it long or have a disc that hyzers too much on the finish. See a common shot for the backhand players. They're pushing it to the right corner and letting it hyzer into the basket. Hokom up first, forehand, moving away from the basket towards that right corner. And she is safe.
Yeah, as Holly mentioned, that right side has way more space to land. Even if you think you pulled it, there's actually more inbounds past the drop zone for another almost 20 feet.
Deann with the laser line right at it, my favorite. Got a little bit of a hyzer finish. And she is safe in bounds, putting for birdie.
I like this play from Ohn where you finish crossing over the laser line, but you swing it in, sometimes getting a nice skip.
Weese with a hyzer shot, and that's moving left quickly with a lot of height.
I'm going to say that needs to hit some stuff.
Luckily, she hit some canopy foliage and has dropped down with a birdie look.
So Hokom is inbounds and actually behind the drop zone. You can see that white string really close to her feet. She's just going to pitch up and settle for par. Ooh.
Jessica Weese with a strong Annie birdie bid, but lands next to the basket.
We have a nice covered seating area, so there's always been fans watching hole 17. You can also see hole 12 and 13 from there. Deann gave it a bid. Ohn, the only player on the card able to connect for the birdie.
It's moving Ohn to 3 under par for the round.
Deann in for the par. Hokom in for the par. And Weese in for the par. I do love that hole, and also, being able to get a birdie on it before you send yourself into hole 18 is a good feeling.
While I do have a lot of different versions of the Thrasher in my bag, the main go-tos are those Thrashers that I got when I first joined the team. And that just tells you how consistent those stock runs are.
Hole 18, par 4, 526 feet. Off the tee, you want to get through this gap over the bridge. If you want to get really frisky, you want something that's going to finish left. If you're just worried about having good footing and not being in the relief area, straight will do just fine. For your second shot, there's actually a surprising amount of airspace, so use it. If you want to do a forehand, maybe work a flare skip into the green, that's great. But you can also play this one straight and just play for par. Par will get strokes on people. Hole 18 has been a bit of a monster this week.
Off the tee, the number one important step is just get through the gap.
Yeah.
And Ohn has done just that. She's landed on the left side of the fairway.
Hokom just pushing straight through the gap. Good position.
Deann Carey makes it through the gap. She's in that back corner near the spotter, Mr. Max Krotz, which I confirmed from yesterday.
You did confirm.
TD for the Down East Players Cup. Look at this shot from Weese. That's what I'm trying for.
Yeah.
Through the gap with a hyzer finish. Deann's caddy making sure to tell her to put it on that angle. Throwing a roller, which Deann has recently added to her arsenal. And it didn't get that flip up and turnover that you're looking for, but she is looking at the basket.
Yeah, getting all the way down to that opening from where she was is fantastic. And if she did curl into that relief area, we play it as OB without the stroke, so she'll be able to just take it out from where it crossed.
I think what Sarah just did with her towel is very smart. You often see people put it on the front foot, but never the back foot, which is the one that can slip the most.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really see people use it on the back foot.
Ohn is just playing for positioning. She goes right to that opening where you can get up and down, hopefully.
Weese trying to be a little bit more aggressive with her angle, but she does catch the big tree. Now with a patent pending, trying to get herself up toward the basket, but it's a really tough angle, so really difficult to actually go all the way right, but she'll still be looking at a putt from the bottom of the hill.
Another surprise on this hole was our second spotter, world champion Barry Schultz.
It was Barry.
It was. Deann Carey's third shot lands a bit short, but she does have an uphill putt.
Hokom trying to thread through those pencil trees, does catch one, and it kicks her down to the base of the hill.
Ohn's third shot inside the bullseye. She'll have a drop-in par. Deann from 25. Oh, and hits that tree right in front of the basket. Look at this putt from Weese. Through the V. That was brave. I wouldn't be mad if I didn't make that. That was a trick putt.
Oh, Deann misses left side. Hokom in for the par. This was our most difficult hole today, not surprising.
They don't want to make hole 17 the finishing hole?
Yeah, when it came to birdies on hole 18 today, it was a big fat goose egg.
And Deann will have to settle for a 6 here on the 18th. Ohn taps in her par. Very well played.
It'll be a bogey for Jessica Weese to finish out round 3. Nice little group of people gathering. It's interesting as far as a hole 18 is concerned because we don't have the bleachers, we don't have like a big area. But that's going to wrap up round 3 for us. We're going to check in on our leaderboard. Kristen Tatar taking the lead, 13 down. Henna Blomroos still in second at 11, and as we've seen on this course, anything can happen. Ohn shooting so well today. Love to see her getting up there. But it was a good round. I mean, everyone did what they could with the rain. What you didn't see was all the muddy spots we had to walk through. I felt like a penguin. I was just like waddling through, trying not to slip.
Felt the back 9 played a little easier than the front.
I agree. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to support me, you can find my Tour Series Convicts on the Dynamic Disc website.
If you'd like to support me, you can get one of my Star Color Glow Tour Series It's a Speed 7 fairway. Check it out on your favorite online disc golf retailer, or for the best price, buy from Innova directly.
Thank you guys so much, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow for the final day.